Hey guys, it's Sam and this is Top 5 Wednesday. If you are not familiar with Top 5 Wednesday, I will leave a link to the Goodreads group down below for topics and such. This week's topic is the settings that we want to see more of. And for this, settings can mean either time periods or places. And also, fair warning, for the most part, these are all fantasy settings that I want to see because as you guys know, I read mostly fantasy, so sorry about it. Number 5 is the Amazon Rainforest, and again, in more of a fantasy type setting, so it doesn't even really necessarily need to be the actual Amazon rainforest, but just a rainforest jungly type fantasy setting is something I'd really like to see. I'd even be willing to do like a historical fiction type thing, but especially just the Amazon jungly type setting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but the Oregon Trail video game, the same creators made an Amazon rainforest video game, and I was obsessed with it when I was younger. It was impossible, much like Oregon Trail, to beat, but it was really fun, and I really just like the idea of the Amazon rainforest and how complex it is, and like there's all these different like species in there that we don't even know about necessarily, and it's cool. So I think if you made that into like a fantasy setting, it'd be even cooler, with all these like deadly plants and animals taken to the next level. It'd just be cool. And I would like more jungly type settings in fantasy. You could do so much with it. So much. Number 4 is ancient Egypt, and I know this is a fairly popular setting, but I feel like it's a fairly popular setting for like B-list books. I just don't tend to see a lot of really good, really popular books in ancient Egypt for some reason. I know Rick Riordan has a series, but I haven't read a lot of the Rick Riordan books. It's not really my thing. And I just tend to see ancient Egypt a lot in kind of like a cheesy way, and I want it in a serious way. I want ancient Egypt to be a focus and the Egyptian gods to be a focus the way that a lot of like the Greek myths are, because Egypt is just as cool, if not cooler at times. Like, why can't we have some of that? So I would like, you know, mythology type books with Egypt. I would like historical fiction type books with Egypt and like fantasy books with Egypt themes. Like, I want it. And I can never seem to find it because all of it tends to be like super cheesy and just not up my alley at all. And I want like more serious stuff. Like, I don't want the Mummy, even though the Mummy is great. I don't want like the cheesy over the top mummy stuff. I want like real ancient Egypt. I never get it. Number 3 is I always want more desert fantasy that is very similar to Egypt, but it's a different kind of vein, more of the like Arabian type settings. I've been really fond of desert-based fantasy in the last like 6 months or so. I've read a lot of it, so I would like to see more of it. I just am really enjoying it. I like books with like desert road trips. I like just that setting. I like that kind of flavor of magic in my books, so there's already a lot of it. But I would like more. Especially if it's like Tsarist Russia, that tends to be a lot of fun. I just like that kind of dynamic before Russia kind of collapsed into a lot of things happening with its history and stuff. Like, I don't really want Soviet Russia, I want like before that. I want like Anastasia and before. Again, that's because I really loved the Anastasia movie when I was younger and still do. But I just really like that setting and before. And just like that kind of like the royalty and all of that kind of stuff. I think that can really lend itself really well to fantasy, and I just like to see more of it. Just that setting, the Eastern European kind of setting. I always tend to enjoy books that are like Eastern European / Russian influences and folklore and stuff, and it is getting more popular, but I can always take more of it. Like, just hand it my way. And number 1 is the only non-fantasy setting that I would like to see, but more space, but like in Mass Effect, the video game series. As you guys may or may not know, it's my favorite video game series, one of my favorites, but really, really towards the top. And I just love the way that space and all of the alien races are done in Mass Effect, and I have yet to find one that I like as much. So whenever I see like space stuff, it tends to be a little bit too over the top for me. Like, I want Mass Effect space in all space books. All science fiction. I just want it. So if you have any recommendations for science fiction that feels like Mass Effect, and don't recommend the comics, I already know about them, I'm going to read them at some point, I already know about them. I need like another series that feels in the same vein as Mass Effect. If you guys have any recommendations, send them my way. So that's it for some of these settings I would like to see more of. Comment down below, let me know some settings you would like to see more of, and if you have any recommendations for these settings that I would like to see more of. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!